The world of work is changing faster than ever. Entire industries are being disrupted. Businesses have a choice, and so do you. Embrace change or be left behind. Will automation accelerate your career or stall it? At EY, we're embracing change and see opportunity where others may see threat. We're disrupting ourselves while building a workforce for tomorrow. What matters most in the transformative age? We believe it's your mindset, in addition to your skill set, that will help you succeed. Analytics, innovation, and the ability to think and act globally. Bring us your curiosity. We'll show you how better questions can build a better working world. Bring us your open mind. We'll show you how technology is creating new frontiers in professional services careers. We are building a better working world. We are EY. Are you?
Good morning. We are here today with our three EY panelists. What we want to talk about today is technology and consulting and climate change and sustainability services. We want to cover some of the trends that's going on and how we have been playing a role in these areas. Briefly introducing my panelists, we have three. Firstly, Tan Chia Hui. She's a partner in our consulting services. She's a supply chain and project management expert with over 18 years of experience, focusing on oil and gas, airlines, healthcare, and logistics. She is a graduate of the University of Warwick. Next, our panelist is Yu Man Yi. She's a senior manager in our technology consulting, with over 10 years of experience focusing on technology, covering consulting transformation, digital transformation, in our financial services and telecommunications services. She's a graduate of the University of Malaya with a Bachelor in Science. Our third panelist is Jo Yin Cheng, and she's an associate in our climate change and sustainability services practice. She has over 3 years of experience covering sustainability advisory and sustainability assurance services. She's worked with various public listed companies, including financial services, fintech, and property development. Welcome, panelists. Maybe to start off, I'd like to ask you an open question, right? What are your thoughts on the technology consulting sector, and what are some of the trends we see in Malaysia, the region, and even the world?
Do you want me to go first, Rafiq?
Yes, sure.
Hey, hi everyone. From a technology perspective, I definitely see the readiness of that. There's a lot of adoption, and even lately, everyone says that COVID is the best chief technology officer for the world, right? The readiness, the infrastructure is there, and I think coming from my experience and my perspective, I'm actually from business consulting. Technology is not silver bullets. It's actually the adoption, the usage, how you put people together with the process to apply a technology to make the best effect. That's something that we need to look into for a realizations of a technology effect. Yeah.
And how do you find companies in Malaysia picking this up? Are we keeping up with global trends?
Good and bad. Definitely, there's a lot of interest. Over the last 2-3 years, there's a lot of interest as asked in terms of how to best help them, especially from the small, medium enterprises, right? To help them to catch up with the leading companies over in the world. And that's something very encouraging. Perhaps it's something on a mindset that needs to be slightly adopted. Most important lessons that I've learned is that how to make sure we help our people especially the people who are experienced in the old ways of working manually, to change the mindset in adopting to the new ways of working. From a people mindset perspective, I think that's something that we probably still need to pay a little bit more effort on.
Okay. Mani, is this something that you see as well in your experience? Maybe you can share with us some of your projects that you've come across.
Hi, Rafiq. Yeah, so basically, I think COVID-19 has changed the way the consumer behavior in both retail banking and also our corporate banking clients. And because of this COVID, it actually acted as a catalyst to increase the use of digital banking. So as you see now, we are venturing into the post-COVID-19 world. Customers are actually embracing the new normal. So their behaviors are actually changing as a result of the digital transformation. And also in the current trend, I believe that digital banking has come into play to elevate their banking experience. Yeah.
Great. And how have you played a role? How do we as a firm play a role in facilitating this adoption?
I think as a technology consultant, we will advise our clients to embed the use of technology into their processes, to automate all their processes and to build a more customer centric product and that is personalized to each of the customers, to give them a high degree of personalization and to target on those micro segments to serve those gig workers. Yeah.
Great. And Xiaohui, do you have any stories you'd like to share? Any exciting projects you've come across over the last year or so?
Definitely. I think this is something very interesting to be shared. I had an opportunity to work to help my client, who is an airport operator, to put in place or to refresh their IT network architecture. And this is traditionally those very hardware-driven kind of work. You deal with a lot of data centers, switches, boxes, devices, right? And one of the interesting thing is that this is actually a piece of, it is that assisting operating airport, right? If it's a new airport, everything is easy. You follow theoretical, you put in papers, and you follow the project plan, you're able to put the system up. But when we are dealing with something that is already in operations, and we call that brownfield, there's a lot of things that we need to consider. How to minimize the interruptions to existing business. How do I work with the existing operations? There will be flights landing, there will be flights takeoffs, there will be passenger that's going to check in, booking the systems. There's a lot of coordination that is taking. So, and it's also an operating airport that I can't be switching off the system and during the daytime and put on the system, new system, right? So I literally had to work and midnight shift. I started work at 10 p.m. at night to prepare the setup and things like that. When there is a lowest flight time in the midnight from 12 midnight to 4 a.m., that's where we get the system replacement and up. And we have to do a countdown before 5 a.m. That's normally the first flight that will be taking off and stop our work of the day. So for a good 3-4 months, we were literally working on a midnight shift like this. And adding on to it is the COVID period. And there's a lot of travel restrictions and operations restrictions and social distancing. So I think, in fact, that's definitely something that is very interesting and very memorable for me. How you work with the existing business process, in all these unforeseen circumstances to make sure the best piece of technology implementations is being put forward. Yeah.
Very interesting. It sounds like it's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, right? As a consumer, we don't really see that upfront. And a lot of companies are looking into this, and it is a crucial role that we are playing to try and facilitate and encourage companies to digitize themselves and adopt some of the new technology that are emerging. Maybe I want to, maybe you can share, Joyin, you're covering the climate sustainability in Malaysia. What are companies looking at? What are some of the trends? And how your role is?
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. So, what's happening for sustainability, right? At a global level, we can see that the United Nations have been pushing for climate-related initiatives. So there is this UN Climate Conference, COP26, that is hosted in November this year. So this summit will actually bring parties together to accelerate climate action, which is consistent with the goals of Paris Agreement. So in Malaysia, we have regulators driving the sustainability development agenda as well. So the regulators have already set a regulatory tone and initiative to address all these sustainability issues. So for example, the Securities Commission and Bank Negara, they have already formed a joint committee on climate change and have recently committed initiatives to further strengthen the industry capacity to manage this risk. So speaking of Paris Agreement, Malaysia is also one of the signatory of the Paris Agreement, and they are committed to reduce 45% of carbon emission by 2030, which is less than 10 years now. So this cannot be achieved without everyone being conscious of the problem and tackling it. So what we have seen in our clients as well, our clients are heading and driving towards this trend. So we can see that they are asking for carbon emission or building their GHG framework or even building capability in their own internal stuff so that they're aware of this issue throughout the organization. Yeah.
And what are some of the challenges faced by clients?
So far they are asking for so the challenge is usually to get capability within the organization. So they would like to, there is usually departments are working in silo, and sustainability is an organizational issue. So what they're focusing now is to build capability as an organization so that they can see this issue as an organization, not working in silo as a department. So this is the main issue that they are having now. So there have been a lot of capability building workshops focusing on sustainability issues to build so that they have common understanding of what the company is facing. Yeah.
And these companies widely adopt this? Is it only a specific sector category of?
Yeah, so Bursa has already made this sustainability reporting mandatory. So it has been made mandatory since 2018, and I can say that this has somehow driven the listed companies to manage this thing because they are forced to report this, as that's why they measure this data, and what get measured eventually get managed. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you really play a role to support our clients?
So we have been extensively help our clients to understand how they capture business opportunity from sustainability and create meaningful value. So we have helped them through sustainability reporting disclosures, climate related disclosures, or helping them develop a sustainability strategy by interviewing the leaders from their companies and coming out with a strategy to help them with this, as well as to assess whether they can have a net zero commitment as well.
Interesting. And do you think that this has an impact on investors and the wider community? I mean, are companies adopting it because they have to, or do you see real value in sustainability? Sorry, Joyin, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So the stakeholders and investors have been asking for such initiative and sustainability data. So I think they're driven by the investors' push as well, because if you can see from other surveys, our surveys as well, investors have been asking for this, and they are looking at investing at ESG. ESG means economic, social, and governance-friendly companies. So companies with more initiative in ESG has performed better, like it's proven throughout the years. So in the long term, people who are sustainable related will perform better. That's what surveys have said, and investors are going to that direction as well.
Interesting. Look, just pivoting back to technology, right? I mean, we've just talked about sustainability and what's driving this change. Do you see similar trends in technology consulting? Is it consumer driven or is it business driven? What are driving these companies to adopt technology and continue to innovate? Maybe Chia-Hui, you can cover this.
Sure. I think it is both sides, right? My background, it's driven primarily on a lot of infrastructure engineering related of industry. And that's definitely from business-driven perspective, the business have to work in a way that, for example, infrastructure of a highway maintenance. How do we make highway maintenance more green, more sustainable? In the event of weather, that is more durable, reduce a lot of carbon footprint when maintaining it, right? And coming from a consumer perspective, I also work quite heavily in consumer industry. I mean, we have seen a lot of awareness from a customer nowadays, especially the younger generations. I'm not sure if I'm able to claim myself as one of it. There's a lot of emphasis in terms of a sustainability when one purchase goods, right? No longer brand, no longer pricing. Sustainability and green become something that consumer will look into, and heavy decision making factors to make a purchase. For example, if you see some of these brands start with a 100% renewables material to make shoes and things like that. Beverages company come up with reusable mugs when you take coffee, that they will give you a rebate. There's also an encouragement to drive towards some of this sustainability. I must say it takes two hands to clap. It must come from both consumer and business to make things work.
Interesting. And based on your experience, right, do you see the adoption of sustainability and technology and digitizing themselves, right? Do you see this adoption and the cost efficiency go hand in hand? I mean, do you see the outcomes being a reduction of costs to consumers? Or and in that sense, is that sustainable moving forward, right?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, right? There's a lot of impressions that's expensive, and you need to put in quite a heavy investment in order to achieve sustainability. And for a enterprise, sometimes this become an unnecessary burden. But if you come from a total cost of ownership, the complete cycle cost from an end-to-end value chain, that is definitely something that we see will move towards a very positive and encouraging cost effectiveness moving forward. For example, if you put in something that is more durable, and it will then reduce the need in terms of maintenance, in terms of redoing the work, the frequency of it, and such, it will drive towards a longer term, definitely viable. A lot of effort has been put into research and how to make things even more affordable, so that to drive a bigger adoption And that, I think, is also another factors. When more adoptions, it also will make things more commercialized and more affordable. So it's really going towards the trend. Maybe not yet, but we see it's definitely moving towards a positive trend.
Interesting. Joyin, going back, just because you've had experience in sustainability and such, I want to echo the same question to you. Do profits and sustainability go hand in hand in your experience? Who are the real beneficiaries here?
Yes. So like economy is one of the pillars of sustainability as well. Like they have to go in. It's the triple profit bottom line that we're talking about. So like you have to look at your own profit and people as well as the planet. So all of these three pillars have to go hand in hand, and you can't really achieve much without like funding, let's say. So all of this have to go hand in hand, and they have to look at the long-term value of what sustainability initiative delivers. So it doesn't necessarily only focus on profit, but if this thing delivers more value to, let's say, your employees or your people, and they will view this as meaningful.
Are there any examples you're able to share with us? Or on maybe something that you've worked on?
Yep. So I will share this particular program that I've been working on. So I'm involved in this program that aims to help the ASEAN countries to harness the benefit of how to actually work towards a low carbon energy economy through green finance as well as energy efficiency programs. So like EY have been working together with all the countries, 6 countries, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and Myanmar. So as for me, I'm involved in this green finance intervention in Malaysia. So our role focuses on supporting the key stakeholders within the financial institutions on capacity building on climate change and sustainable finance. So how do they use sustainable finance to drive initiatives? So like why financial institutions, right? Because financial institutions, they actually have the power to mold where the finance go to. They channel funds to, they can channel funds to more sustainable initiative or projects if they want. So they actually have the power to shape sustainability for the wider economy. That's what I said. Yeah. So far, like our program has delivered more than 5 capability building workshop and involves more than 500 participants so far. So like what I specifically like about this engagement is that we are slowly creating a ripple effect to build capacity on climate change. And I hope it will cover a majority of the leaders out there to actually make a change. Yeah.
Interesting. So you're saying that really banks are quite the driver or a major influencer in adoption of sustainability. Mani, over to you, right? I mean, just any final thoughts or want to share about some experiences that you've had in sustainability or even technology adoption? Do you see the adoption of technology and innovation being cost efficient and profit driven, or do you see it much as compliance, in sustainability angle?
Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah. So for me, in terms of sustainability in the banking environment, it will be something that probably in my experience in Malaysia banking environment, I can't comment much on that lah. But definitely the banks are moving towards the digital transformation angle. Due to COVID, it actually accelerate them to think a step ahead on how they should, how they should contact their customer, speed up their products to market, and create multiple channels to touch base with their customer. Because of COVID, there's social distancing. You can't go to the bank. All this kind of thing is really changing the way how the bank are working.
Great. I think, we want to move on to the next section, and which is, to dive a little deeper. You shared a lot about the sector, your experience, our role as a firm on how we are facilitating this change. I want to ask you personally, maybe Xiao Hui first, right? I mean, what you've made a decision to join the firm, EY. So, maybe the golden question is, why EY?
Little unknown fact, I started my career as a teacher. It's always my dream that I want to solve the world hunger, and my purpose uh, is really to build to make everyone's lives a little bit better. I was very heavily involved in a lot of NGOs activities, social activities, even since secondary school and uni. And as part of going through career that I bumped into EY with a tagline called Building Better Working World. And I thought it connects to me very well. I have the ability and opportunity to help a lot of my clients throughout the entire career as a consultant. And a lot of time I have the fortunate time in terms of making things a little bit better. For example, I work on oil and gas work. I make the engineering operations safer for the people, so that they can go home to their family safe at the end of the working day. For example, I work on the highway infrastructure work that makes the highway a little bit smoother, so that everyone can travel safer. For example, I work on, for example, a consumer goods with a more effective scheduling and production to make things more cheaper and affordable to everyone. So I think this is something that's really connect to me a lot, and that's the main reasons that keep me keep going in consulting and EY, even though after 18 years. I think I'm not revealing my age too much, but yeah, it is a work that it connects to me, give me opportunity to contribute to the society. I get to do interesting work, and at the same time, it's challenging enough to keep it going.
Great. Mani, maybe over to you. What do you think? Why EY, and what keeps you here? What do you like about EY? Mani, I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. So why EY? So I believe that EY is up to you to build. So it's yours to build. You can build everything that you feel you want, and you can make a change. And I think in EY, we really value people who take initiative and can see how something could be done better and run with it. So we are a very diverse team in terms of thinking. We have people who are highly analytical, people who are creative, people who are big thinkers, and people who are also process-oriented. So I am really blessed that I get to work with some of the brightest minds across each industry to explore powerful minds. And I actually get to have the access to professionals in different disciplines, all of us working together to make a real impact on the way the world works today. Yeah, so I think that's why I am in EY. Yeah.
So it sounds like, the fact that we're a flat organization, you feel that, even as an employee, you get to contribute as much to the firm as much as the partners wish to, and it's really a collective effort. Joyin, do you echo those sentiments? How has your experience in EY been over the last 3 years?
So like I've joined EY for 3 years, and I think the department has grew over time. So when I joined CCAS, it was just like 4 to 5 people at that time. So the department has grown, and we have seen client grow as well. So what I like is like I can see how my client grow throughout these 3 years with their sustainability related services demand. So they have moved from demanding from reporting to now focusing on how they can embed this in their strategy itself. So I think it's really about the learning curve in EY. So I've learned a lot, and looking at how I can always stay relevant by learning all these services. Yeah.
So you talk about learning curve. You talk about driving growth. Obviously, these things sound simple, but in reality, it is a challenging job, and they come with challenges, and those should be seen positively, right? And I suppose for me, culture does play a huge role in this, right? Having a growth mindset and things like that. So maybe, Joey, maybe you can expand a little bit more on how you have experienced the culture and how has that helped you grow through these challenges.
Yeah. So like, of course, when I talk about all these changes and growth, it comes with peak periods, and you have to commit time to actually develop yourself. So like for me, I think culture is very important because they will always say you have to find an organization that you fit their culture or suit in their culture, but actually culture is shaped by the people around you and yourself. So like we don't really have to change ourselves to fit in a culture, but we have to be versatile enough to act and react accordingly to the changes and expectations around you. So like for me, I think it's important to have people around you. So like people around me that have been very supportive at all levels. So like it's really important to maintain a certain level of socialization with your colleagues, with your bosses while you work, so that it makes you stronger and you know what are your weaknesses or the feedback on you. Yeah. So
you talk about diversity. You talk about the supportive culture. Xiao Hui, you want to chime in a little bit about what your experience has been like? Do you echo the sentiments of how we as a firm are very gel together? We work across different service lines all the time. I see you sharing the same client with me, and we work together a lot and collaborate. So maybe you can chime in on what are some of the highlights, right? Is it diversity? Is it the culture? What is it for you?
I think that's definitely the openness as well as inclusivity. For example, in EY, we are an organizations that we address each other by first name. It's not very hierarchical. In a project, we work together as a team. There's no difference between there's difference, but we don't put in a hierarchy that you are a partner, you are a manager, and I'm just an associate, right? We learn from each other. There are times that in particular topics that are new, I will tell my associates and my managers that I'm new in this topic, and we all learn together and figure out the solutions together. And I do learn a lot from my team members this time, right? And so that's definitely something that it doesn't mean that you're older. That means you are higher hierarchy. So that's one. Secondly, is there's always openness and encouragement and support for us to try out new things. There are things that in the past that I say I'm interested in healthcare. Can I try out healthcare as an industry? Even though I do not have the background, there's always supports that's being given. Maybe you go and talk to who and who from this department, and maybe you can try out this project. And there's always opportunity given to try out new things. And I find that that's and this is not something that a lot of organizations will do, because at certain seniority, you are carrying quite a heavy cost if you work not effectively on something new. But this is also something that EY trying to balance in terms of making sure everyone have opportunity to learn new things and grow and to be more diverse and more all-rounder. So I think that's something very good.
Interesting that you mentioned all-rounder. People sometimes think of us as an accounting firm, but I think, we as a firm have evolved over the last, 10 years or so, right? We're no longer seen as an accounting firm. We are really a professional services. We're not just auditors. We do everything under the sun. And I think to reflect that business change, we have started looking beyond, accounting graduates, right? We've looked into hiring engineers, data scientists, and a very broad spectrum of graduates, right? We're no longer looking at just CAs. And in my experience, when we hire these people, they give us a different angle, right, to the input of the kind of work. And it not just facilitates our work, but it enhances the kind of quality that we deliver to our clients. Is this something that you experience as well? Maybe Man-Yi, you can share a little bit of your experience.
Yeah. So in terms of, you were asking about background, right? So I'm not from technology background, so I don't hold a computer science degree or things like that. I'm actually a biology student. I mean, I studied biology science back then, and yeah, I decided to land to try out this technology stream back then. I mean, before I joined EY, I was working with a fintech company that actually provides learning on all those technology stuff. So as I grow and move on to EY, in our technology consulting, I also realized not every one of us is from the so-called techie background. We have very diverse people, people from finance, people that is doing business. They also join us as a technology consultant. Yeah. So I think that's why in EY, right, I believe EY is investing in their technology, and also the people here. EY is trying to build a transformative mindset and technology skill needed for each and every one of us to be able to innovate and also to think and act globally. Yeah.
And in your experience, right, building on, because you personally have gone through that experience of coming from a different background and then adopting technology, exactly how was that experience? Was it a positive experience for you? Having to switch from your background?
Yeah, it's a positive experience. Like I think like what Chia Hui mentioned, the support from your firm and the support from your team member, and the ability for you to grow further, everything it depends on yourself. So you need to have the curiosity to learn. You need to be passionate in the things that you work on. And in current years, I mean, all the resources that you require to improve your tech knowledge, it can be found anywhere. Just Google it from YouTube, and yeah, things like that.
Great. Joanne, over to you, right? I mean, you mentioned that your team is growing and it has grown over the last couple of years. How has it been like working in a small team and being part of a team that is growing? Do you see, is this, how does this impact your development, and how does it impact our service delivery to the clients as well?
Yeah. So like as I said, the team has grown so much over the years, and we have a lot of different people from different backgrounds. We have people from law, we have people from engineering, and I myself, I'm from an accounting background. So as you said, like the firm as an accounting firm, we have grown, but accountants have grown as well. So like like your background doesn't really define what you do. Like for me, I've learned so much so far, which is beyond my education on accounting. So I like how this diverse perspective come in is when we have a lot of different clients from different industries. So all these different perspective come into use and provide a lot of value when it comes to like if it's engineering background, then they will know more about how carbon emission works, how the processes in an oil and gas company work. And like for me, we would have more insights into banking industry, financial institutions, like so different background would give different contribution to our clients. Yeah.
And managing, you obviously you have client work, right? And that takes up most of your time during the day. And then on the other hand, you also have to pick up an entirely new, subject matter. Do we provide enough support for you? I mean, how is that for you?
Yeah, so like beyond work, I actually enjoy doing these EY badges that EY have. So so far I have explored 2 badges actually. So it's design thinking as well as the sustainability related badges. So I feel like, cause committing 30 hours, it isn't that much. So we can do it over like a few months. You can just spend 2 hours after work, or you can do it over the weekends. So like this is really a good platform for people to learn, and I've been learning a lot so far, and I like it. Yeah.
Great. We've always been talking about the younger generation here. Not to say but I want to hear from you, Xiao Hui. As being a partner in the firm, your learning curve, is it still there? Is it even more? Is it higher where you are compared to your experience previously?
Yeah, definitely. It has never stopped, to be honest. As a new partner over the last 6-7 months, there is a series of training program and also a transition program, right? Helping me to to learn and transition from a director to a partner. What kind of and it's a I feel like I'm going back to school all over again and learn how to be a good partner, and that's something that's very amazing. And even in a COVID of time, right, we are able to put together all this learning program, and it's a global learning program where I'm connecting with partners across the region, ASEAN, and there's also connecting with the partners across Europe and US. And this is something that is very amazing. Good and bad, definitely there are some sacrifice that you need to give up, because some of these courses start 6 a.m. in the morning, or sometimes runs up to like 9-10 p.m. But that's definitely something that's available. It's for you to pick and make a balance out of it and make the best out of it. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe before we wrap up, I want to ask 3 of you. Maybe Xiao Hui, you can go first, right? Being a technology and a consulting practitioner, what is your vision for your clients?
It sounded a little bit conflicting when I say this. My hope and my vision for my client is always something that they're able to we're able to work together, develop something that is suitable for them, and at the same time they are able to self-sustain of what we have been recommending and been implementing for them. It sounded very conflicting because I tell my teams, right, as a consultant, a lot of times you are putting in solutions for a client to make yourself out of job because you fix their problem, and that means you don't have a problem to continue to sustain your job. But my belief is, if you fix a problem and it's something that is sustainable, there's always other opportunities. Once that problem is fixed, they will want to grow, and when there's growth, there's also opportunities. They will think that Xiao Hui helped me solve my problem before, and I would want to get her back to help me grow and growth together. So yeah, as a consultant, we tend to make ourselves out of job, but it has never happened before.
Okay, interesting. That's interesting. Man Yi, maybe over to you. What is your vision for our clients? I mean, you're a technology practitioner. You've been here a while. Where do you see companies going, and what is your vision for them?
My vision for them is I would like to inspire our clients to put in more technology and to automate their things so that they could actually create a better users experience for all our customers. Yeah, because technology is the new trend and there's no way we can run away from it. So I really hope that we can really inspire our customers or our clients to incorporate more technology segment into their processes, into the way they do work. They need to think of a new way. How can they sustain their business? How can they grow their business using technology? Yeah.
And what about you, Joanne? What is your vision for clients, especially from a sustainability and climate services angle?
For me, I think the vision will be the clients should be mature enough to resonate with the global trends, and they can do more initiative in their own capacity or by partnering with one another to create an impact in all sustainability pillars: economic, environmental, and social. So at the point, sustainability shouldn't be seen as one area to manage. It should be the business itself. It should be embedded in the business itself, and businesses will see this as business as usual.
Great. Now we're going to move on to our Q&A session, right? So I'm looking at the poll, looking at the questions. There are a couple already voted on. The first one, currently do EY workers work from home or still proceed with physical work from the office? And how is the experience working from home for client servicing roles? Any takers?
I'll go.
Yeah.
We
Okay, Chahui.
definitely do work from home, and whenever possible, we encourage our team members to work from home. It's part of our social responsibilities to make sure that's minimal travel wherever possible. And we are lucky to get understanding from our client as well. A lot of our clients understand this and do willing to work with us in terms of getting on virtual collaboration, working from home. There are situations where physical to be on site that's still required. Some of my technology work involves a little bit of the physical hardware itself, but we can minimize that. Learning from that is that we create small work together time where everyone of the team member will just group together, stay online, even though just working on it, and you can just chat with each other, and at the same time also pop up questions. How do I deal with this? How do I resolve that? Not something that is very extremely difficult. A lot of new young generations nowadays that join EY are really very flexible and able to work on this method. But a lot of time, what I feel very encouraging is that a lot of client has also learned to adopt to this way, and they also learn and reflecting back. This is something that even motivates them to go even extra mile for the next adoption of technology.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like we are able with the frameworks and with the technology that we have, we are able to simulate a real life, physical experience, but we do it virtually, right? Man Yi, maybe you can chime in on, what do you think working from home to service a client, how has that been?
Yeah, so I've also been working from home since COVID. So I think the firm itself is very supportive. And also in terms of our client, they are also very supportive and understand that currently is not a good time, for us to meet face to face. If possible, we would do all our meetings virtual. We will try to simulate our discussion as productive as possible. by using tools like Mural, this kind of things for us to have brainstorming session and things like that. So due to COVID, all these new ways of working, it suddenly emerged out. So yeah, I think it's quite fun for us to, to have discussion through Mural. Sometimes we get new ideas from there. Yeah. So we are able to adapt well. I mean, both ourselves and also our clients in terms of working from home and also having discussion virtually. Yeah.
Great. And Joanne, what about you? What do you think? And maybe you can share some of the positives, maybe, of working remotely.
I think the positive thing about working remotely is that you can escape the traffic. So like that's definitely one of the point. And I think working remotely is you get people to be more responsive to you. Like people are just one text message away, or they are just one call away, right? So but with this virtual thing working around, so people will have back-to-back meetings and it can be very tiring and you wouldn't have much time for work. So like it has been stretched out to like after working hours and etc. But so far I think it is really good because you can stay efficient because you wake up and you just do work and you can escape all the unnecessary things and you just focus on work, and you can spend time with your family as well at home. I'm privileged enough to have my family with me here, so yeah.
Okay. And maybe next question that we have, what can one expect as a fresh graduate joining EY? Any takers? Maybe you, Joyen, being only joined only the last 3 years.
So as a fresh graduate in EY, I think I'm not a fresh graduate, but when I was a fresh graduate, I think the learning curve is very, very steep. So you go in and it's full mode working. You need to understand what you're doing. And good thing is you have people, seniors, managers who are kind enough, patient enough to teach you and guide you on what to do, what to read. And so it's about your own initiative as well. So to understand what EY is doing, what we provide our clients, you have to go through like what deliverables that were delivered before. So like you have to take own initiative to understand the services itself and what is required to deliver those services.
So it sounds like it's a lot about deciding for yourself how you want to drive your own career, right? And then speaking out and seeking and pursuing those initiatives internally, right? Because a lot of the time the firm is moving in the same direction and you are able, even as a fresh graduate, to drive that growth together, right? Any thoughts, Chia Hui, fresh graduate joining the firm?
I think definitely work as a team. Work as a team, as in be able to learn from your senior, get advice so that it minimize your unnecessary exposure in front of client. That's something that's very important. This is because EY as a firm, as a brand that we carry. You, even though as a fresh grad, you're literally carrying the big global firm brand. So seek out for advice. Don't be quiet. If you have extra capacity, help up the friend. If you can't cope, speak out and get help. That is also something that is very important. Yeah.
And Man Yi, what about you? What do you think, fresh graduate?
Yeah, I believe fresh grad, I mean any level, they should own their own career. So they have to build their own career. So yeah, they need to have the proactiveness to learn things, to seek advice, and yeah, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, when you ask, that's where you get to learn. So if you don't ask, that's where you don't get any information or knowledge. And I think in EY, we actually provide a very good platform for fresh grad, to pick up different knowledge from different discipline. We have our own EY portal where we have everyone from different service line, different country to share all our experience and knowledge in it. Yeah, so you can actually browse through a lot of materials for you to read up and to buff up your own knowledge and experience. Yeah.
Okay, and I guess this next question is related to the one we just covered. What does it take to excel in EY? It's an interesting one. So I mean, to each of you, what makes a champion, or what makes a really great a team member in EY?
There are times that so I dovetail what Manyi said, right? Take charge of your career, know what you want to do and pursue, right? There are times that you don't get what you want. For example, many times I've got asked to fill in some work that probably there's need, there's urgency, there's need, and during that particular time, it may not necessarily be something that of my immediate interest, right? But more importantly, I realize is that get on with it. There must be something interesting within the job that you can uncover throughout the process. But more importantly is do a good job during that particular time, build up your brand, because with that you have your personal brand in the firm, and you will be in demand, right? And other people will come to you and get you onto their project. With that demand being created, you tend to be able to have more options to select and get on to the real job that you're really interested.
So just to recap what you're saying, it's really about having an open mind and a growth mindset, right? I mean, it's not a perfect world. Sometimes you do have to do work that may not be your direct interest, but really in every challenge there is an opportunity to learn, right? And it's about demonstrating and building your brand ultimately, right? When you learn something else, you never know, it could end up being your passion in the future. But also building your brand allows you to pursue your interests at another opportunity post that project, right? I mean, is this something that you experience as well? Maybe Manyi, you can chip in.
Yeah, so to be honest, we don't get to do work that is always interesting. There are times that we get things that we might not be happy, or we might not be even comfortable to work on it, due to our experience. We might not have the experience in it, but end up, why am I giving that job? So I need to relearn everything again. So it's so hassle, right? But yeah, I think given those kind of job, right, it actually molds us to be stronger. It actually molds us to, like, you need to get out of your comfort zone to learn something new, to do a good job in it. You get to learn so much. It's a new learning curve for you. So the learning will be very steep, and then take the risk, get out of your comfort zone, discover what you can learn from there, and grow from there, and just build your network and your brand. Yeah. And your personal brand.
It goes beyond just technical learning and skills, right? It's really also about character building, a lot of soft skills, right? A lot of presentation.
Yeah. A lot of presentation skills, because we have to communicate with our clients, So yeah, your leadership skill, communication skills, presentation skills, all that. Yeah, it's come hand in hand.
That's really the crucial of being an all-rounder, right? I mean, Joyin, is this your experience as well?
Yes, so like I agree with them. So like we shouldn't be afraid of changes, because client will always be asking for different kind of services. They will demand for different things, and we wouldn't know what is coming next. So learning is a very important thing, so that we can always keep up to the pace that the client is demanding. So like she said, presentation skills, leadership skills are very important, because we are in the professional services line, we face people all the time. So the ability to communicate with people effectively is really, really important. Rafiq, you're on mute.
Thanks, Join. I guess the next question is also related to you. Next question is, what is the skeleton of the sustainability report? What is usually measured to check if the company is following or heading towards sustainability? Maybe you can give us some insights.
So there are a lot of sustainability reporting related standards. Like in Malaysia, Bursa itself already come up with a guideline for companies to adhere to. So the reports usually focuses on the material matters. So what if material matters is managing what matters most to the company. So it can be anything from economic, it can be social, like your employee management, or it could be relating to the environment, water management, carbon emission, etc. So what I usually measured is that all these standards provide you with a list of indicators that are related to these material matters. So how do you assess the progress of these companies is that they usually, best practice, they usually will have 3 years data. So if you look at this data, let's say number of complaints, if it reduces over the years, that's how you measure this progress. And they are required to disclose how they manage these things as well. So you will be able to identify what are the initiatives during the year to come up with this data. So like how effective is their management approach?
So it really is a measurable thing, right? It's not just words on a page. It is actionable. It is and it is measurable ultimately. Next question as well is what are the challenges to sustainable development? Can they all be solved?
I think like the biggest challenge I think is stakeholder conflict, the conflict of interest. So companies have a lot of key stakeholders, and as companies they have to manage all these demands and concerns of these stakeholders and demand different things. So like the conflict of interest is probably the biggest challenge of all. So like the NGOs probably want us to look more on how we manage environment and etc. And your stakeholder would want you to maximize profit. So the biggest challenge is for companies to bring all these stakeholders together and agree on the right approach and bring them at the right place to discuss on this. Yeah.
Okay. Next question is again environment, sustainability. Very hot topic here. Would you be able to advise fresh graduates from the environmental sector, how can we embark into sustainability career path?
Okay. As I've been mentioning, I think sustainability is an evolving topic, right? It's always evolving. So if you are in the career in this path, you will see changes in your department on the services along with the trends and the stakeholder demands. So with that, we will always learn different things. And if you want to look at what are the changes, or you want to stay really, really relevant and to the recent demands on sustainability, then I think sustainability advisory is definitely a choice for you.
So I guess you mentioned that it's important to stay on track and with the latest trends. But as students, right? Let's say if I'm an environmental student, I want to go to sustainability. How do I take that leap today, right, as a student, so that I'm better prepared to join your business when I graduate?
We just have to read up on like what are the recent sustainable development stuffs, and when you join us, there are on-the-job learning as well. Like there will always be guidance. It's not like you have to know everything when you join. So we learn as we go, and you don't always have to be perfect. We learn from feedback, we learn from mistakes. So yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
So have an open. I guess the next question is to all of you. So maybe Chia Hui can take this first. Why is there a new trend amongst the Big Four in hiring non-accountants?
I think it's not really a new trend anymore. And I think a lot of you, those students studying or newly graduated, you all must be aware that things that you study in the university or in the school may not be very relevant and may not be very applicable in the new world, in the new norm, especially the new norm coming towards driven by digital and technology, right? So with that, digital and technology is changing a lot of how we do things. The auditors is no longer doing auditing the old ways. That is digital. That is AI in terms of applying. How do you do audit? The same goes for tax and accounting, right? So with that, this is where a lot of, for example, myself, I'm an engineering graduate, where my applications is not about applying my hydrocarbon mass balance knowledge in the organization, but it's about the structured engineering approach in terms of solving and addressing problem. With that, bringing in the new digital and technologies application, helping various professions, accounting, business services, and even people advisory. Bear in mind, even recruitment nowadays can be done via AI, right? So this is where we see that the boundary amongst the academic specializations is getting blurred. It's more towards how to apply a structured thinking and methodology addressing knowledge. And I guess that's opens up quite a big opportunity for various academic background to be able to join EY.
So really, it's doesn't necessarily mean what you study in university and in high school. That doesn't really play a part in what you want to do in a career in EY, right? It's really about evolving yourself, and really in hindsight, right? Whatever you learn in the past, it's not like it's being thrown away, but you learn the principles and you can apply it in a different body of knowledge, right? I don't know if maybe Man Yi can chip in. I mean, especially you who have gone through that process of switching from biology into technology.
Yeah, so I guess
Man Yi, I think you're on mute.
all right. So I guess what you study in university, it doesn't warrant you. You have to be in this line. You have once you graduate, you have to start in this accounting world, or you have to go into business. You have to be a banker because you studied finance and things like that. So, like myself, I did biology, and I decided. 10 years ago, I decided to move to IT. So I guess it's a right choice. It's a right move. Now the world is changing. Trends are changing. So we just have to be agile, embrace changes, and just take yourself out from comfort zone. Always open to learn new things. So yeah. And in EY, we have a very diverse team. So everyone is learning from each other.
Great. So I think that's all for our session today. So just to wrap up, I just want to recap, so in terms of a sustainability angle, there is a lot of activity in Malaysia driven by regulators and companies, and profits and sustainability do go hand in hand. On the other hand, on the technology side, we also do see companies keeping up with global trends with a lot of consulting and support needed, right, to get over those operational issues, trying to adopt those technologies. That's where the role of the consulting firm comes in, and to really support them in those adoption. When it comes to careers, really it's about taking your own charge of your career. Diversity and inclusiveness is a very important factor, but more importantly, personally, you need to have a growth mindset and an open mind, and really drive your own career, right? Taking that ownership. I want to thank my panelists today for all their sharing. I think it was a very interesting chat, and it was, even for me, first time hearing all this. We do a lot in the firm, and I think after my 8 years here, I still don't know everything about. There's just so much, and so much is interesting. And I'm sure it's the same for you too. So maybe to find out more about EY and what we are thinking, all the latest trends, please go to ey.com. Follow our social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, to keep updated with us as a firm. Thank you.